What if I told you that the Gambit and Rogue you know aren't the ones you're meeting in Marvel Rivals? Sure, they share the same history, the same love story, and the same iconic moments, but the versions appearing in Season 5 are shaped by something far more unique. With each newly unlocked gallery card, we're seeing a version of their relationship and their powers that might be unlike anything Marvel has ever shown before. So in today's video, we're going to dive deep into the lore of Season 5 to reveal the secrets of Gambit and Rogue in the world of Marvel Rivals. Season 5 starts by introducing us to the Grandmaster and Collector. The story begins in the Loveisabattlefield gallery card, Grand Game, where the voice of the Grandmaster dives into the story of how the time stream entanglement affected him and his fellow elders. Through his narration, we're pulled directly into the cosmic landscape behind Marvel Rivals, where ancient rivalries, hidden agendas, and multiversal games set the stage for everything that's about to unfold in this season. But to understand the story of Season 5, we need to understand who the Grandmaster and Collector are, and why their role in this story is extremely important. If you've only ever seen the MCU versions of the Grandmaster and Collector, it's important to note that they are vastly different from their comic counterparts. Though the MCU did a good job in demonstrating their personalities and roles within the galaxy, the characters' focus on their own power was more tailored towards their wealth, resources, and influence rather than their actual premortal cosmic power. In the comics and Rivals multiverse, the Grandmaster and Collector aren't just powerful beings. They are members of the Elders of the Universe, which is a group of ancient, near-immortal survivors who date back to the earliest age of creation. Each Elder is the last of their species, emerging in the aftermath of the Big Bang, and have sustained themselves for billions of years by the power primordial, which is the leftover energy that birthed the cosmos itself. The power primordial has been noted as similar to the power cosmic, which is wielded by cosmic beings such as Galactus and the Silver Surfer. The specifics to its power scale in comparison, it's not really explained, but we can assume that the power primordial outweighs or is equal to the power cosmic to some degree. Each Elder of the Universe is driven by a singular obsession, and it's basically their defining personality trait. For example, the Grandmaster is obsessed with games and competition. Meanwhile, the Collector is preservation and acquisition. Others like the Champion, the Runner, and the Gardener focus on combat, speed, or nurturing life. Though it's important to note that despite being in a group called the Elders of the Universe, they are rivals more often than allies, basically cosmic titans whose obsessions shape their every decision. According to the Grandmaster, as a result of the time stream entanglement, the Elders have recently merged their individual domains into a single unified realm, making their own unique plane of existence. It's basically an experimental paradise formed from countless converging realities. It's a place where the Collector's gallery, the Grandmaster's arenas, the Gardener's creation, and more all coexist. A multiversal playground built by beings who literally treat eternity like it's a hobby. But while exploring this new shared domain, the Grandmaster discovers something that interests him, a contract bearing the name Von Doom. Though specifically not just any Doom, but a contract from one of the two Dooms whose chronal tampering ignited the crisis now tearing through timelines. Before he can learn more, the Collector catches him snooping around the gallery, and the Grandmaster has to leave empty-handed. Though the Grandmaster can't decode its purpose, he immediately recognizes its value, seeing the contract as possibly the ultimate bargaining chip when Doom inevitably dares to challenge the Elders themselves. However, with the Collector's suspicion now fixed squarely on him, the Grandmaster realizes he can't retrieve the contract alone. He needs someone bold, someone talented, someone with enough nerve to steal from the Collector's gallery and make it out alive. Enter Remy LeBeau. Hand-selected by the Grandmaster, Gambit becomes the centerpiece of the Grandmaster's scheme. But beneath the Grandmaster's playful narration lies something unexpected. He admits that reality is dying, collapsing faster than even he can anticipate. And if Doom isn't stopped, even an elder such as himself might not survive the fallout. And to the Grandmaster, that would be the greatest tragedy of all. because there are still so many games left to play. Though I'm sure many of you are wondering, why would Gambit, a mutant thief from Earth, suddenly find himself entangled in the Grandmaster's cosmic schemes? Well, the answer lies in what Gambit and Rogue have been doing ever since the time stream entanglement ripped them out of their present-day timeline. What started as a wedding on Krakoa turned into an intergalactic honeymoon, a honeymoon that carried them across the stars, earning them a reputation among cosmic travelers, and even made them allies of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's where Gambit's lore picks up. Inside Knowhere, the floating celestial skull turned into a spaceport, where heroes and criminals mingle in equal measure. At a quiet table in Starlin's bar, Gambit is dealing cards with Rocket Raccoon when he notices Gambit's new deck of cards isn't normal. Gambit reveals the deck was a gift from the Grandmaster, and that's when Rocket asks the question we all want to know. What have you gotten yourself into, Remy? To understand that question, Gambit takes us back to the moment the time stream entanglement hit. Gambit reveals that he and Rogue were on Krakoa, right in the middle of their wedding ceremony when the temporal storm struck. Their vows barely finished before the island was ripped out of the present timeline entirely. This confirms that Krakoa's displacement in Marvel Rivals occurred during the wedding, aligning their disappearance with Cyclops' sudden removal as well. But while Krakoa was thrown into the far future where Ultron would later invade in Season 2 and 2.5, Gambit and Rogue were already galaxies away. Somewhere between the events of the time stream entanglement and the events of Season 2, Storm's connections with the Wakandan royal family helped secure a spacecraft for Gambit, where he then whisked Rogue off on what was supposed to be the perfect honeymoon, except, as always, Gambit had a hidden agenda. When Krakoa was swept away, their wedding rings were lost to the time stream, and Gambit being Gambit couldn't let that go. He wanted to replace Rogue's ring with something better, specifically something worthy of her, and his search for the perfect gift eventually caught the attention of the Grandmaster. Prior to their intergalactic honeymoon's departure, the Grandmaster approached Remy directly, appearing in an astral form over Krakoa, offering him a deal: steal a mysterious contract from the Collector, and in return, the Elder would forge new wedding rings from a chronovium die and grant Gambit and Rogue access to the Grand Garden as the final stop of their honeymoon. It sounded simple, too simple. But as their card games go on, the more Gambit would learn from the other patrons in the bar. We eventually discover that the Collector obtained the contract from a red-skinned stranger, who traded it to him for a bizarre machine made of twisted pipes. Whether this means this contract was between Doom and this mysterious red-skinned stranger, or the stranger just happened to acquire the mysterious contract, is unclear. But I would love to hear your theories in the comments below on who you think this stranger might be, and why this contract is so important. I have a theory that maybe this is an early hint at Mephisto, but only time will tell. But the biggest secret of all was something Gambit didn't even tell Rocket. Another part of the Grandmaster's offer to Gambit that truly made it an impossible offer to refuse. Before giving Gambit his unique playing cards, the Grandmaster also used a spark of the power premortal to repair a section of Gambit's frontal lobe. For those that don't know, this is the same part of Gambit's brain that Mr. Sinister had removed during a past lobotomy in the comics to help Gambit suppress his powers. It was the one thing that had always prevented Gambit from reaching his full potential. And with that injury healed, the Marvel Rivals version of Gambit is no longer restricted. This Gambit is an Omega level mutant. His powers evolved instantly, allowing him to infuse matter with non-explosive kinetic energy that triggers cellular regeneration. And we see this firsthand when he uses one of his unique, kinetically charged cards to fully heal Rocket, undoing a lethal wound in a matter of seconds. It's a quiet moment in the story, but one with massive implications, as this is arguably one of the most powerful versions of Gambit ever depicted. And of course, because this is Gambit, he keeps that detail to himself. Still, his mission continues. With Rogue unaware of the deal, the couple travel across space in their hybrid honeymoon diplomatic mission, planting Krakoan gateways across the multiverse and searching for information. all while Gambit secretly prepares to infiltrate the Collector's domain. And the moment Gambit reveals that he's fighting for Rogue, for their relationship, for the rings they lost, for the future they were robbed of, Rocket agrees to keep his secret, even as the danger erupts around them. The bar brawl ends with Rogue swooping in to smash a few rowdy patrons, and the two mutants finally set off toward their next destination. At the time of this video, Season 5 has only just launched, and 6 lore entries are still locked behind upcoming events and content. 3 of these belong to the Season 5 Elders chessboard event, and 3 more appear to be tied to the upcoming Season 5.5 storyline. Because of that, there's still a large portion of the season's narrative that we can't fully explore yet. Once all of these entries are unlocked, I'll make a dedicated follow-up video, and if you're watching this after that video's been posted, I'll have a card linked in the top right corner just for you. From what we can see in the Elders chessboard event, there are 3 main gallery cards. As of right now, we have access to one of the 3 gallery cards titled About to Make a Name for Myself.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. You just make sure people know what happened here today.
This gallery card covers most of Gambit's background with a focus on his adventures with Rogue since departing Krakoa after the time stream entanglement. Throughout their journey across worlds like Hala, Knowhere, and now the Grandmaster's Garden, Gambit and Rogue were also on a mission for Magneto, planting special Krakoan seeds at each of their destinations. These seeds would bloom into Krakoan portals that allow mutants lost to the time stream to return home. So the picnic picture of the gallery card takes place right after they plant the final seed, officially completing their Krakoan mission and showing that they're ready to return home, though Gambit still has one more mission to complete. The second card, Phantoms of the Past, features Doom 2099, observing what appears to be different timelines or events involving what I guess to be his mother. Which, if the red-skinned man we talked about earlier is Mephisto, and this is Doom's mother, then perhaps we're going to be seeing a Mephisto-themed season sooner rather than later. Honestly, it's hard to tell with this one, but I am looking forward to covering it in the future with y'all. The third card, Trouble in Paradise, depicts Gambit in his Thieves Guildmaster attire, quietly leaving Rogue late at night, presumably to begin his heist. This is most likely the card that will finally show us what happens when Gambit makes his attempt to retrieve the contract from the Collector's Gallery. For now, all we can do is speculate, but as soon as the locked lore becomes accessible, we'll cover the entire Season 5 storyline in full detail. Even though most of Season 5's story is still locked, the Battle Pass does give us access to both the first and last gallery cards. And that final lore page already reveals several major details about Rogue, the unfolding conflict with the Collector, and even 2 heroes who are likely lined up for future seasons. This final entry is told directly from the Collector's point of view, which actually mirrors the season's opening where the Grandmaster narrated the story. Here, the Collector reflects on how often Terrans have disrupted his collection, specifically referencing the earlier breakout involving Jeff, Mantis, and Psylocke, showing that he's still frustrated by those events. And now, in his eyes, Gambit and Rogue have made things even worse by attempting to steal Doom's mysterious contract. One of the most important reveals in this entry is what actually happened during the heist. The Collector explains that the real contract was hidden inside a cabinet made of chronovium, a crystal that isolates objects from the time stream. You've seen them throughout every season so far. This was meant to keep the contract completely safe from interference, but Rogue absorbed the chronovium's power, stripping the cabinet of its protection and allowing Gambit to grab the genuine document. This detail is extremely significant because it may explain Rogue's new abilities in Marvel Rivals. We've seen subtle instances of her powers, such as the glowing green aura around her hand in the trailer, which could be a hint that her powers are more unique to Marvel Rivals than we thought. If Rogue has absorbed chronovium, the rare substance directly tied to time, reality, and the time stream entanglement itself, we may be seeing a version of Rogue unlike any we've ever seen before. And with Rivals' unique twists to heroes such as Gambit and Daredevil, anything is possible. The final reveal comes when the collector mentions that he won't be sending his guards after Gambit and Rogue. Instead, he plans to beat the Grandmaster at his own game by deploying 2 Terran operatives already working for him. One, a blathering, foul-mouthed mercenary, and another, a monster hunter as deadly as she is beautiful. These descriptions clearly point to Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone, especially since Psylocke previously mentioned being hunted by a man in red in her lore. Their involvement strongly suggests that they are positioned as future playable heroes, likely in Season 6, or later seasons when we continue the story of Gambit and Rogue's heist down the road. Even without the missing pages, this final lore entry sets up a major turning point for Gambit and Rogue, hints at Rogue's evolving powers, and teases 2 major character debuts waiting just over the horizon. And with all that being said, there you have it. Season 5 of Marvel Rivals has already started to shake up the cosmic landscape, from the Grandmaster schemes to Gambit's heist and the potential of Rogue's unique powers. We've only just scratched the surface, with several lore entries still locked and a few major mysteries still waiting to unfold. But let me ask you, what do you think about Rogue's possible new powers, or Gambit stepping fully into his Omega level potential, or who the red-skinned stranger could possibly be? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and theories, as I'd love to hear what you think might happen next in Season 5 and beyond. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. But real quick before you go, I want to say thank you guys so much for your love and support. I never expected this channel to grow as quickly as it is, and I really enjoy making content for all of you. Because of you, I have become a Marvel Rivals partner and a Marvel Rivals Pathfinder, and I couldn't be more thankful. I also stream over on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'd love for y'all to come join our community over there as well, as I do have a goal to become a Twitch partner, you know, someday in the future. And I'd love to have y'all be a part of that journey. You can find those links in the descriptions below. Thanks for watching, and like always, I hope to see you out there in the multiverse.